Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and a very warm welcome to Government House, Yarralumla. Dawa Nuna, Dawa Nunawel. I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we meet, the Ngunnawal people, and pay my respects to their elders, past and present, emerging leaders, and any Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islanders that might be gathered with us this afternoon. My name is Paul Singer and I'm the Official Secretary to the Governor-General. And as this badge represents with its cross quills, I'm also the Secretary of the Order of Australia, whose Council recommends appointments and awards in the Order's General Division to the Governor-General, who is the Principal Companion and Chancellor of the Order. I'm also Secretary to the Australian Bravery Decorations Council, the body which makes recommendations to the Governor-General for bravery awards. Before we start today's ceremony, I'd like to acknowledge that despite the challenges posed by the current pandemic, we are delighted to be able to host this ceremony in a COVID-safe manner. We are grateful for your understanding of and compliance with the measures that we've put in place to assist with everyone's safety. A very warm welcome to your guests as well. Today is a special day, not only for recipients, but also for their friends, families, and communities. It is a day when we celebrate a diverse range of impressive achievements and service. The Australian Honour System provides a wonderful mechanism through which we as a nation can recognise and celebrate ordinary people who do extraordinary things. Since its inception in 1975, over 420,000 people have been recognised for their meritorious, bravery, military and national service. The Order of Australia is the principal means of recognising outstanding service, and it's important to understand that nominations come from all parts of the community. Anyone can nominate. As staff at Government House, my colleagues and I are privileged to play a small part in the recognition and celebration of that achievement. I hope that we can make today an occasion that you'll all recall with pride for some time to come. Shortly, I'll invite you to stand as Their Excellencies the Governor-General and Mrs Hurley enter the room, and then remain standing for the singing of the first verse of the Australian National Anthem. The investiture will then begin and proceed in the order listed in your programs. After I read their names and citations, the recipients will enter the room from the doorway on my right, and after they've been invested, will exit via the central aisle to take up their seats at the back of the room. At this point, you might like to show your appreciation with a short applause as the recipients return to their seat. At the conclusion of the ceremony, I'll invite recipients to join Their Excellencies on the state entrance stairs for an official photograph. And after those photographs, Their Excellencies and recipients will join with all guests out on Lakeside Terrace where refreshments will be served. So ladies and gentlemen, please relax and enjoy this very special occasion. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please stand for the arrival of Your Excellencies the Governor-General of the Commonwealth of Australia and Mrs Hurley, and remain standing for the singing of the Australian National Anthem.
Australians, oh let us rejoice, for we are young and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil, our home is girt by sea. Our land abounding nature's gifts of beauty rich and rare. In history's painted at every stage, our mountains Australia fair. In joyful strains then let us sing, our mountains Australia fair.
Thank you. Please be seated.
Well, a very warm welcome from Linda and I and the staff here at Government House at Yarralumla on a very special occasion for our recipients seated in the rear of the room, and for families and friends here to support them, and of course for those who might be watching This is a very special day in the calendar of Government House as we acknowledge the contribution that our recipients have made to our country. And speaking of country, Government House Yarralumla here sits on the land of the Ngunnawal people, and I thank them for looking after this beautiful part of our country for generation after generation and pay respects to elders past and present. One of the unique features of the Australian Honours and Awards system, the Order of Australia, is that the nominees, particularly in the General Division or the Civilian Division, are nominated by their community peers. This is, for want of another term, a bottom-up system. Ours is not a system where elites in our national or state capitals reach down and say, somebody is doing a good job, they deserve to be recognised. It is very much your system. So I mentioned that to ask you to stay alert as I am investing each of the members as they come through, because I'm going to issue you with some homework when I wind up in my concluding speech after the ceremony. Australia has had a difficult time lately, we all know that. In the 4.5 years I was Governor of New South Wales, and still in many parts of the country we're in drought. We've had floods in northern Queensland and elsewhere. We've had obviously a horrific bushfire season last summer, and now we have a pandemic which has had a health and economic toll on our country. And that, of course, has constrained Linda and our ability to travel. So we spend most of our days on virtual meeting apps, talking to leaders of community, members of community, heads of not-for-profits and charities around the country, supporting them in what they do and acknowledging the great work they do. But after each of one of those calls, Linda and I come away very much uplifted and reinforced in our belief in the goodness and the strength of the Australian character. And today we will see a microcosm, the tip of the iceberg, a small element of that quality of service that occurs on a daily basis in our country. And that's what this award ceremony is all about, acknowledging that service. So please, relax. I heard Paul say that as I was standing out in the hallway myself. There is a degree of pomp and ceremony, protocol about the day, as it should be, being a special day, but it's also a Government House in Australia's celebration. So you may smile, applaud at the appropriate times, and enjoy the occasion. So welcome again, and I'll now commence the formal investiture ceremony. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Your Excellency, to be presented with the insignia of his appointment as a member in the General Division, Mr. Eric Chalmers, for significant service to the community through child accident prevention and road safety organisations. Mr. Chalmers has, for more than 20 years, been dedicated to improving the safety of infants and children at the local and national level. Through leading roles with KidSafe, he was instrumental in the development of an integrated model for injury prevention and the implementation of a range of education programs. These programs have helped educate parents about child safety, both in the car and in the home, and he has been a leading proponent for the use of child car restraints. He has also represented KidSafe to the Safe Kids Worldwide Network, where he collaborated on new policy. Mr. Chalmers has also been an outstanding volunteer and advocate for road trauma reduction through his efforts with the local chapter of the Australasian College of Road Safety. Mr. Eric Chalmers, appointed a member of the Order.
Congratulations. Thank you for taking care of our most precious asset. Children, Australian families can travel on holiday safely. So, well done. Thank you. Congratulations.
To be presented with the insignia of her appointment as a member in the Military Division Rear Admiral Sarah Sharkey, for exceptional service to the Australian Defence Force in the management of healthcare. Rear Admiral Sharkey has been the driving force for significant reforms in health services that optimise Navy capability. As Director, Naval Health Services, she advocated for the importance of health in supporting operations and drove a fundamental review and reform of Navy health staff. She led a workforce of 1,500 personnel, delivering quality care to Australian Defence Force members in her role as a Director General Garrison Operations. And she delivered major efficiencies whilst ensuring clinical and organisational priorities were met. Rear Admiral Sharkey has provided superior leadership as Director General Health Business and Plans, where she led Defence's Next Generation Health Services contract, negotiating $6.7 million in annual savings. Rear Admiral Sarah Sharkey appointed a member of the Order. To be presented with the insignia of her award of a Medal of the Order in the General Division, Mrs. Rose Adler, for service to the community of Harden Murrumburra. Mrs. Adler has volunteered in many community groups in the Harden, Murrumburra and surrounds over the past several decades. She is a highly valued member of the CWA and has served that organisation in a range of roles. She's also been a very active member of St Paul's Anglican Church for over 40 years, and her involvement on the Parish Council, Church Women's Union and at the Opportunity Shop has been outstanding. Additionally, she is a long-standing member of the Harden Evening View Club and held the vital position of Treasurer on the committee for many years. It is people like Mrs. Adler who are the backbone of our community, and she is most deserving of our recognition. Mrs. Rose Adler awarded the Medal of the Order.
I'm glad to lose you.
To be presented with the insignia of his award of the Medal of the Order in the General Division, Mr. Mark Hoskinson, for service to primary industry and to the community. Mr. Hoskinson is a third-generation farmer in the central west of New South Wales. He's also been a leader in the primary industry sector, holding various positions with the New South Wales Farmers Association and the Grain Growers Association. During the current drought, he's organised meetings for local wheat and wool farmers to advise them of what resources are available to help them at this difficult time. He's also been instrumental in seeking assistance grants from governments and organising care packages for drought-affected families. For the past 30 years, he's played vital roles with his local bushfire brigade. Mr. Hoskinson is someone who epitomises service above self. Mr. Mark Hoskinson awarded the Medal of the Order. To be presented with the insignia of his award of the Medal of the Order in the General Division, Mr. Lakshman Prasada Lurie, for service to the Indian community of the Australian Capital Territory. Mr. Prasada Lurie is a driving force in the Canberra community, working tirelessly for a range of social causes that have benefited many. He has been a strong and active advocate for a diverse and harmonious society in the ACT, and has been most effective in getting Canberrans motivated to embrace the benefits of a multicultural community. His tireless service to the Mandir Society of Australia, to the ACT Multicultural Festival, and to a range of other community organisations is an example to others. Mr. Prasada Lurie is committed to creating a community that is inclusive and where everyone is valued. Mr. Lakshman Prasada Lurie awarded the Medal of the Order. To be presented with the insignia of his award of the Conspicuous Service Cross, the late Colonel Robert Sanders, to be accepted by his wife, Mrs. Gail Sanders, and son, Mr. Matthew Sanders. For outstanding devotion to duty and achievement as Director, Land Army Headquarters. Colonel Sanders demonstrated outstanding achievement in the planning and execution of short notice contingency and ongoing global operations. He provided superior advice for a range of leading operations, including the Association of Southeast Asian Nations Australia Summit in 2018, Operation APEC 18 Assist, the 2018 Commonwealth Games, and support of the 2018 Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit. He was also pivotal in providing land planning advice to Headquarters Joint Operations Command for short notice domestic disaster support. In particular, he was vital in coordinating land elements for Operation Queensland Flood Assist 2 in 2019. Colonel Sanders' personal drive enabled the achievement of important tactical, operational and strategic outcomes that brought great credit to himself and to the Army. Mrs. Gail Sanders and Mr. Matthew Sanders accept the award of the Conspicuous Service Cross on behalf of their late husband and father, Colonel Robert Sanders. To be presented with the insignia of her award of the Conspicuous Service Medal, Squadron Leader Lisa Hubbard, for meritorious achievement in logistics support of the C-27J Spartan battlefield airlifter capability. Squadron Leader Hubbard served with distinction as the Commonwealth's representative for the construction of new facilities at Air Force Base Amberley. She was the point of contact for the commercial project manager and construction contractor for the $160 million upgrade of the base to house new C-27J Spartan aircraft. She was also the lead planner and facilitator of No. 35 Squadron's relocation from Richmond to Amberley. Squadron Leader Hubbard's achievements have provided crucial support of Air Force's air mobility capability. Squadron Leader Lisa Hubbard awarded the Conspicuous Service Medal. To be presented with the insignia of his award of the Public Service Medal, Dr. Adam Lewis, for outstanding public service through the application of geospatial information. Dr. Lewis's vision has transformed the way spatial data is organised, prepared and analysed, leading to changes to the way images are recorded by satellites in Australia. Since 2004, he has reformed Geoscience Australia's Earth and Marine Observation function into a globally recognised capability. He's been integral to the design and development of technology which provides the Australian Government with data to monitor the environment and increase productivity in the agricultural and mining sectors. Dr. Lewis's leadership and innovation has resulted in Australia now leading the world in the analysis and delivery of modern satellite remote sensing data. Dr. Adam Lewis awarded the Public Service Medal.
I need to be quick in this job. It's always going to happen. Congratulations.
To be presented with the insignia of his award of the Australian Fire Service Medal, Mr. Russell Goodall, for distinguished service to ACT Fire and Rescue. Mr. Goodall joined the then Australian Capital Territory Fire Brigade in 1976 and since that time has served at various fire stations across Canberra. During his career, he's attained a number of specialist qualifications, including as an operator in the ACT Emergency Service Agency's Communications Centre. At the centre, his extensive operational knowledge ensures that the community receives the appropriate emergency assistance as quickly as possible. He is an excellent role model for firefighters and also supports current and retired firefighters who are suffering illness, injury, or experiencing life difficulties. Mr. Goodall's commitment to the safety of the ACT community throughout his 42-year career has been outstanding. Mr. Russell Goodall awarded the Australian Fire Service Medal. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that concludes this afternoon's presentations.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've acknowledged each of the recipients individually. I think it would be appropriate now to acknowledge them as a group. Please join me. Now, this week and last week, because of the constraints of the pandemic and our inability to conduct the Australia Day ceremony in April, we're acknowledging quite a large group over a 2-week period. But as you go through that group and you look at the data, we still only have about 40% representation of women in our award system. Our multicultural representation is still too low, and so is our Indigenous. Your homework. You've seen the range, particularly in the general or civilian division, of the order of activities that people are being recognised for. Go back to your homes, your communities. You know the people who are doing and making those contributions in your community. Please nominate. Our system depends on your nominations. Of course, from here, we will drive the system, market it, advertise, manage it. But you hold the recipients in your hands, frankly. So please, take that on as a task, and in 2 years' time, I want to see the results of that at an investiture with me here. So please do that, and Paul will give you a bit more information how to do that as we conclude. We will now end the formal part of the ceremony, and after Linda and I leave, we will then join you outside or in the dining room. We'd love to get to know you a bit better, spend some time with you, and just celebrate with you a very, very special day for our recipients. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to assist with the homework that the Governor-General has just set, I do encourage you to look at the Governor-General's website, where you'll find plenty of information about how to nominate someone that you think is worthy of recognition within the Order of Australia. And we, of course, look forward to welcoming the successful nominations back here for an investiture ceremony such as this in the years to come. Shortly, I'll invite you to stand for the departure of Their Excellencies and the recipients, and we'll invite the recipients to join Their Excellencies on the state entrance for a formal photograph. If the guests could remain briefly in here until such time as Their Excellencies and recipients have departed, and then proceed through to the dining room and out onto the Lakeside Terrace where refreshments will be served. Would you please stand for the departure of Their Excellencies the Governor-General Mrs Hurley and the recipients. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I now invite you to proceed through to the dining room and, of course, out onto the lakeside terrace. It's a beautiful afternoon outside, and Their Excellencies and recipients look forward to joining you shortly. Thank you, and a very good afternoon.
Thank you.